Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Count here with a brand new Pokémon Go video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at HELIOLISK. This is, of course, one of the newest Pokemon that was introduced in the Power Plant event that's currently going on in Pokémon Go, and I really wanted to determine whether or not this particular Pokemon was good for the Go Battle League. I am going to be telling you my findings in today's video, so let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Alright, so let's talk about HELIOLISK. So this electric and normal type Pokemon was recently introduced in the Power Plant event in Pokémon Go, and I want to say that I had high expectations for this particular Pokemon, considering that there are a lot of Pokemon in the current meta that are weak against a lot of HELIOLISK's moves. In terms of its charge moves, it has both Grass Knot as well as Thunderbolt. Both of these moves could definitely be a strong counter to a lot of the Pokemon that are currently meta, and I was very curious to see if this was actually something that was viable to use in the Go Battle League. But the big question mark with HELIOLISK is of course in relation to its fast move. It could have either Volt Switch, which is of course a very powerful move for getting a lot of energy to your Pokemon, or it could have Mud Slap, which could give you a lot more type coverage. So I wanted to try out HELIOLISK with both of these different fast moves to see if it is more viable in the Go Battle League. Now, in order to test out this Pokemon, I used it in a team that consisted of a Shadow Victory Bell opener, as well as a Walrein with Icicle Spear. And since the current meta is very heavily leaning on Walrein, I wanted to see if this Pokemon would make any kind of impact. Well, it turns out that this Pokemon ended up being very underwhelming. Regardless of what fast moves and charge attacks I brought with it, it just didn't seem like it was making as strong of an impact as I predicted. One of the main reasons for that might be because of how I constructed my team. Maybe if I actually created a team around HELIOLISK rather than just slapping it into my strongest team, I really do think this Pokemon would have been a lot stronger in the Great League. But unfortunately, my team was extremely vulnerable to pretty much any fighting type, and that was a huge problem when I was playing my games. And in most cases, I didn't even need to switch to HELIOLISK because they had no answer for my Shadow Victory Bell opener. But in some cases where I did need to go to HELIOLISK, it just seemed like this Pokemon was getting knocked out too quickly, or it was not dealing as much damage as I thought it would do to a lot of the strong counters to Shadow Victory Bell as well as Walrein. In a lot of cases, I felt like it was even squishier than Alolan Raichu, which, of course, a lot of people do run in the Great League, but because Alolan Raichu is squishier than most other Pokemon, a lot of people tend to not use that particular Pokemon, and it really felt like HELIOLISK was even weaker than that. I was not able to get a lot of charge moves off, especially if I was not using Volt Switch, and it was very disappointing. It turned out that HELIOLISK ended up becoming a big liability. But real quick, let's actually talk about those fast moves. So first off, I tried out HELIOLISK with Mud Slap, and I found that even though I was not able to dish out more charge attacks, I was actually dealing a lot more base damage with Mud Slap, considering that some of the Pokemon that I was coming across were actually weak against ground types. For example, I was able to deal with very pesky Pokemon like Bastiodon as well as Stunfisk pretty easily, and that is of course because both of those Pokemon are weak against Mud Slap. It just required me to have some shields on hand because if they used any charge attack, HELIOLISK would get knocked out really easily. And like I said earlier, I really feel like it came down to my luck against their openers. Like, I did have a lot of Walrein openers in my sets, and that gave me some easy wins considering how easily Shadow Victory Bell deals with Walrein. And then of course, having Walrein on my team would mean that I would deal with a lot of pesky Pokemon myself. So it really seemed like HELIOLISK was a non-factor in a lot of my matches. But then I tried out Volt Switch to see if it would make any kind of difference. Well, I was coming across different kinds of opponents. I did not see a lot of Walreins as openers, so of course I was having a much harder time, and it seemed like I would need to switch out to HELIOLISK a little bit more often. Well, whenever I did that, I actually had HELIOLISK get knocked out really quickly. As it turns out, there's a lot of different counters to normal types and electric types in the current meta. If they were to switch switch out to, let's say, like an Alolan Stunfisk, that would be an instant loss. If they were to have a Medicham on their team, I would have no answer to that. And if they were to have something like a Deoxys defense form, that would give me a lot of trouble as well. I wasn't too sure if it was because I was just getting really unlucky with my opponents, or it was because I did not optimize my team around HELIOLISK, but it just felt like I was doing a lot better without HELIOLISK on my team as opposed to having him on my team, regardless of what fast move I was using. But again, I would definitely like to try this out with a team that's better optimized for HELIOLISK. Like if I were to have a lot more Pokemon that could back it up, maybe it could actually be useful in some way. But I just feel like in terms of its stats and its moveset, I would rather go with Alolan Raichu. Mainly because of that Psychic type, I'm able to resist a lot more moves that players would bring, but it also has Wild Charge, which is definitely a huge step up over Thunderbolt. Even if I were to go with Thunder Punch, I feel like I could get a lot more charge attacks off compared to Thunderbolt, and both of these Pokemon have Grass Knot, so they have some great type coverage. So overall, I want to say that this particular Pokemon is not going to be great for the Great League, and I really feel like that's a bit of a disappointment, considering that with Walrein and Icicle Spear being such a menace in the Great League right now, it would have been really nice if we had some sort of counter option to that particular Pokemon in the Great League, but unfortunately HELIOLISK is a bit of a disappointment. Who knows, maybe you can still make this Pokemon work out if you have some great Pokemon to back it up, like let's say maybe you could back it up with a couple of Fairy types or Dark types, maybe something like that would be very effective, but overall I feel like this Pokemon is a little bit of a bust and there are greater options out there. For example, I would suggest going with a regular Stunfisk or even a Galarian Stunfisk. Like if you're struggling with going up against Walrein with Icicle Spear right now, then I highly suggest you go with something like a Shadow Victory Bell or a Medicham or even a Defense Form Deoxys. Any of these Pokemon can be really strong against Walrein. If you're saving up candies for HELIOLISK thinking it will be a great Pokemon for the Great League, unfortunately it is just not that good. Who knows, maybe it could be a very strong Pokemon for the Ultra League, considering that there's not too many electric type options in that meta. I mean, I'm actually very curious to see if this Pokemon could make a huger splash in the Ultra League, considering that there's a lot more flying types and ground types and water types that are very prevalent in that meta, like Gyarados, Talonflame, and even Swampert. All of these Pokemon in theory would get countered really hard by HELIOLISK, but of course there's also a lot of Machamps and Legendaries that would be really strong against this Pokemon as well. So it really is something I would like to try out once the Ultra League is back in Pokemon Go, and maybe we will have an update to this video at that time. But in any case, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I would love to know your thoughts regarding HELIOLISK down below. Do you have this particular Pokemon? Are you using it in the Go Battle League? Are you finding better success than I am with this Pokemon? Definitely share your strategies down below. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I will catch you all later.